Let's swing this. Monday's Gospel, Monday of Easter week's Gospel, always John 11 through 18. And it's one of my favorite Gospel passages, and it's actually a very Dominican passage, just because, I know I'm not a Dominican, clearly, but I love Dominicans, and I'm taught by Dominicans. Anyway, so I know these things. Anyway, it's a Dominican passage because Mary, I'm going to read the passage, but Mary Magdalene is like the apostle to the apostles, the apostles, apostolorum. That's apostle to the apostles in Latin, apostle of the apostles, because she went and told the apostles. She was the first one to go tell the gospel, the good news that Jesus was risen, and she told to the apostles. So Jesus sent her to the apostles. So I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to do a little reflection kind of thing. Okay. But Mary stood weeping outside the tomb, and as she wept, she stooped to look into the tomb, and she saw two angels in white standing where the body of Jesus had lain, one at the head and one at the feet. They said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" She said to them, "Because they have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him." Saying this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing, but she did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom do you seek?" Supposing him to be the gardener, she said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, that I may go take him away." Jesus said to her, "Mary," and she turned and said to him in Hebrew, "Rabboni," which means teacher. Jesus said to her, "Do not hold me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father, but go to my brethren and say to him, I am ascending to my Father and to your Father, to my God and your God." Mary Magdalene went and told the disciples, "I have seen the Lord," and she told them that he had said these things to her. The Gospel of the Lord. One of the things that I've noticed about this passage is Mary loves Jesus so much. Mary Magdalene she was an adulteress before Jesus found her. I think that's the traditional story. And she loves him so much. She's crying. She misses him after his death. And even though she loves him so much and knows him, she's followed him everywhere. When Jesus appears to her in the garden, she doesn't recognize him until he says her name. Jesus calls us each by name, and oftentimes we don't recognize his presence in our lives until he says it, or he says something to us. Like in today's gospel in Luke, the road to Emmaus, the disciples didn't recognize Jesus until he broke the bread in the breaking of the Eucharist, breaking of the bread, the Eucharist. So sometimes we don't recognize our Lord immediately, even if we love him a whole lot. But then, after he says her name, Mary turns around, realizes Jesus, and is super excited to see him. And like, oh my gosh, the Lord is alive. And I guess it sounds like she goes to try to hug him, because, you see someone you love, especially if you haven't seen them in a while, or if you thought they were dead. Wouldn't you go and hug them? And Jesus said, "No, stop. I haven't gone to the Father. You should not hug me yet." He says, go to my apostles, to my brethren. He calls them his brothers. Go to my brethren and tell them that I am alive and that I'm going to go to the Father. But I have a twist on this. Instead of Jesus saying, "Don't hug me, I have not yet ascended to the Father," Jesus says, "No, don't hold me, for you have not ascended to the Father. Instead, go and preach to my brethren, to the people." So it's kind of saying Jesus' way of calling us, like calling our name, and we're like, "Jesus, hey!" And then we go and get it. But he's like, "No, you haven't come to heaven yet. It's not time for you to relax. You gotta go and you've gotta pray, and you've gotta go tell everybody about my teaching about my resurrection." Because once we encounter him, we can't sit and be couch potatoes. The world has enough couch potatoes. They don't need the Christian to be the couch potatoes. Instead, we've got to go do as Jesus says. Go and tell everybody that I have seen the Lord.